What is up, YouTube? Today is Monday, July 22nd. If my voice kind of gives out, or if I start talking like quiet and sound like I'm like sad, I'm not. I think I have strep. I went to get tested today and they're doing a culture on it, so not feeling too good, but we're still gonna film this video because I'm really trying to stick to my posting schedule. And today's video is going to be another informational topic because I got a lot of good feedback last time. So today, instead, last week was the top 5 weightlifting tips if you're not seeing progress. This week is going to be my top 5 priorities for fat loss. So this is just going to cover the 5 things that you need to have in line if you are looking to lose body fat. There's just so much stuff out there that is taught or is told that you need to be doing when it comes to fat loss that really just aren't where your priorities should be. So I just want to make this for you guys so that you can kind of condense all of the information out there into what you really need to focus on. The number one thing that you need to focus on whenever looking to lose body fat is just overall caloric intake. You need to be in a caloric deficit to lose body fat. Anybody who tells you otherwise, that's just not science. Literally, you have to be in a caloric deficit in order for your body to oxidize the body fat. Like, it has to happen. And going back to my point of a lot of people think that they're in a deficit, but they're really not. This could be for a lot of reasons. It could be, number one, what are you doing on the weekends? If you are in a deficit all week and then your weekends are kind of just a free-for-all, look at your average for the week. Maybe you're averaging out at maintenance or a surplus, so therefore every time you weigh yourself Monday morning, you're not seeing progress, but that's because you're not really in a deficit in the long term. It's not just on a day-to-day basis. That whole week matters. And another reason is just because our bodies are so adaptive. If you've been on what was a caloric deficit and then your body adapts to it and you stall, you need to make some changes because that's no longer a deficit for you. Our bodies are going to adapt. They're going to force you, or not force you, but naturally our bodies, whenever we do drop our calories, are going to kind of conserve energy in any way that they can, whether it be not fidgeting as much throughout the day, things like that, and also just having less food in general. Our bodies are very smart and they're going to adapt to that and be efficient with what it has, and then you're gonna have to make another change to kickstart that. That can either be from dropping your food again or increasing your cardio. And also one thing to keep in mind is that if your calories are already really low and you're already doing a lot of cardio, you're making sure that your weekends are in check, you're being consistent, and you're still not seeing fat loss, that's whenever it's time to kind of be like, okay, maybe I should look into more of a reverse diet, get my metabolism back up and firing, my body more responsive, and kind of just get in a better place for fat loss, because not everybody, and actually a lot of people, are not in a good place to start a fat loss phase. But either way, if we're just talking about fat loss, not getting into the whole reverse dieting thing in this video, but if we are just talking about fat loss, you have to be in a caloric deficit. That's just part of it, and that's for fat loss. So some people, like beginners, if you go into a caloric deficit and you start weight training, their weight might not change, but their body composition might. They still might lose body fat, but they still need to be in a caloric deficit for this to happen. So number 2 is protein. So weight loss and fat loss are 2 different things. And I think that this is something that I see a lot with people that I get DMs from and stuff, that they're losing weight, or even my clients, that they're losing weight too slowly. And here's what you guys need to remember. Like I just said kind of at the beginning of this point, weight loss and fat loss are 2 different things. If you are losing body weight at the expense of also losing lean muscle tissue, that's not what we want. Lean muscle tissue is actually going to keep the metabolic rate up higher. It's going to help you burn more calories just throughout the day, just because muscle is a very metabolically active tissue, so it's just going to burn more calories. So we want to keep as much of that as we can. And there's been multiple research studies done showing that a high protein diet during the fat loss phase is effective for maintaining that lean muscle mass and promoting fat loss. So keeping protein intake high within those calories is so important. Honestly, the carbs and the fats within those calories is kind of up to you and your preference. I prefer a pretty even split with a little bit higher carb for performance reasons, but some people feel better, thrive more on a higher fat to carb ratio. But what needs to be consistent is your protein. So we want calories set in a caloric deficit, and then your protein needs to be at, my rule of thumb that I use for myself or my clients is 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight. If you don't actually know your lean body weight, you can kind of guesstimate. So like right now, I weigh about 137, 135 some days, it kind of depends. And so I'm eating about 130 grams of protein, which is actually a little bit more than 1 gram per pound, but there's a range of like 0.8 to 1.2 that's been shown in research to have those positive effects I was talking about. But I like to range on the higher side of it for myself personally, but 1 gram per pound lean body weight is a great rule of thumb. This is going to help you maintain your muscle mass while you cut, because like I said, we don't want to lose just weight, we want to lose body fat. And that's another reason why like body recomp comes into play. Whenever even beginners might be questioning why at the beginning of fat loss they are maybe not seeing the scale drop as much as they want, but they're seeing good changes and that kind of stuff. Even like with reverse dieting clients, they're seeing amazing body composition changes. Maybe the scale's not moving that much. That's because weight loss, fat loss, two different things. And keeping protein up has been shown in many studies, like I said, to help us keep that lean muscle tissue. So those are my two top things like that you need to be prioritizing. If your protein is low, you will very likely probably lose some lean muscle tissue as you are dieting down, and also you're just not going to feel as full, as satisfied at meals, things like that. Protein has a very high satiety effect. So that's number 2. Number 3 is consistency. As I was saying at the beginning, like with people who maybe think that they're in a caloric deficit but their weekends are saying otherwise, whenever you average them out, consistency is key with any of this. You can hit those calories, that protein goal 5 days a week, but if every single weekend, Friday and Saturday, you're eating double your calories and not really caring, that's just coming back to it, you're not going to see that fat loss progress. You're just not. And that's not to say that you can never have a weekend or a meal off. I take 1 free meal a week usually. And honestly, that free meal does not mean, in any way, it doesn't mean like eat whatever, you're free to eat whatever. It's just like a term I use for like untracked meal. I still am very smart about it. If I want to indulge a little bit more, some nights I will, but for the most part, even if I'm not tracking, I'm keeping things in mind because I know that consistency with a plan is key. It's also key for like just digestion and how your internal systems are working, which is also so important in fat loss as well. So calories, protein, consistency. And then the next 2 are still very, very important and often very overlooked, I feel like. So number 4 is going to be your foundations, your foundational health. So your sleep, how much sleep that you're getting, your stress levels, your water intake, your digestion, and like your micronutrient intake, all of that is so important. I am a firm believer that whenever our systems are happy, our body is a lot happier. It's going to respond a lot better, quicker, easier. We're just going to see better results. So if you are not sleeping well, if your digestion's off, all that stuff, you're putting a lot of unnecessary stress on the body. And what elevated stress in the body does is it elevates our cortisol levels as well. And chronic elevated cortisol levels has actually been shown to be related to holding and storing body fat. So it just can be very counterproductive. So with my clients and myself, I like to really focus in on all of these things. Once I get them going with and myself, nutrition, hitting calories, hitting protein, being consistent with that, then we want to make sure that we are still focusing on all those little things. So getting enough sleep. I try to get at least 7 hours a night. Getting enough water, at least 1 gallon a day. I prefer 1.5 gallons. Just managing stress, finding ways to deal with your stress because we all have it. I take like a cortisol reducer supplement at night. I have worked on different techniques to cope with my stress that happens just throughout the day. That's really helped me. All that stuff is going to benefit you so much because all this unnecessary stress from no sleep, stress in general, even exercise is an added stress to our bodies, but all of that can contribute to cortisol levels. So we want to also just be sure that we're keeping all that under control. And with that, all of that kind of ties into digestion as well. Whenever our bodies are overstressed, we're not going to be digesting things as well. And whenever we're not digesting things as well, like our bodies just are not going to respond well. That's what I've learned with myself and my clients, as I've been saying. But whenever my digestion is off, I usually don't see the best progress that week. We want our body to be really utilizing the foods that we're eating, digesting them properly, absorbing them properly. And whenever our bodies are overstressed and we're bloated and not digesting things well, our body's just not going to be as responsive and not very happy. So getting all of that in check is number 4. And just so you guys know, like the things that I take to help me with that, first of all, like I said, try to get 7 hours of sleep a night at least, 1.5 gallons of water a day. I take a green supplement and a multi-nutrient pack supplement, and then a fish oil. And I'm going to probably do a supplement video on like my foundations soon if you guys want that. But just keeping all of those things, your foundational health in check, so that your body is going to perform and just be as efficient and effective as possible, is tip number 4. So number 5 is going to be lift weights. If you are looking to get toned and you think that running is going to do it for you, let me tell you, that's really not the case. A lot of people that want to get toned don't realize what it really means. Being toned is literally just having muscle underneath that you're showing. So if you're lifting weights, you're going to build up that muscle, and as you lose body fat, that muscle is going to show, which will give you the toned look. Also, like I said, lean muscle tissue is a very metabolically active tissue in the body. So if we can build up our lean muscle tissue through lifting weights, we're going to just burn more calories overall. And yeah, so lift weights, don't be scared of them. Also, that's just gonna bring you more positive body composition changes, because if you're not doing any weightlifting, then you're not really making any changes. You might be losing some body fat, but what's under that body fat isn't changing. There's so many countless benefits to weightlifting. In particular here, I'm just talking about for fat loss, but there are so many other ones as well, just like with your bone health as you age, with functional movements that can help you as you age, with mood, with energy levels. With literally, weightlifting has so many benefits, but in particular to fat loss, it can be very, very helpful. And first of all, building up that muscle so that you actually look toned, and second, just burning more calories overall. So that is gonna be it. Those are my top 5 priorities for fat loss. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Let me know below if you did. I tried to keep it short and simple rather than super detailed because I didn't want it to take forever. But if you want me to go in more detail in a single video on any of the topics, like I said, I do want to do a supplement video soon. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, so in summary, top 5 priorities for fat loss. Number 1, calories. You have to be in a caloric deficit to lose body fat. There's no getting around that. If you think that you're in a caloric deficit and you're still not losing body fat, either look at your weekends, adjust your calories, or maybe look into reverse dieting to kind of kickstart your metabolism back up. Number 2, keep protein intake high. This is going to help preserve lean muscle mass as we cut or as we drop body fat, to make sure that we are losing body fat, not just weight, because we do want to preserve that lean muscle tissue. Number 3, consistency. Consistency is key with anything, literally with anything in life, especially fat loss. Number 4, foundations. So being sure our systems are working right, getting enough sleep, managing our stress, making sure digestion is on point, getting on our micronutrients, all that stuff. Micros matter too, it's not just macros. And then number 5, lift weights. So that's gonna be it for me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.